Today, we will tell an exciting story about our smaller brothers. Olesya Nikolaevna's day did not start off in the best way. Being late for work was just the first of a series of unpleasant events. The minibus that was supposed to get her there on time left a little earlier than expected, and she had to wait so long for the next one that, finally running into the office, she noticed the sympathetic looks of her coworkers, accompanied by nervous glancing at their watches. Judging by the director's tone, the day did not promise to get any better. "We had planned to sign extremely important documents today," began Viktor Petrovich, clearly restraining his irritation. "Where have you been, and what was the reason for your lateness?" "The minibus," Olesya said quietly, lowering her eyes. "Of course," the director replied sarcastically. This tone left no doubt. He was extremely angry. The reasons for his anger were obvious. The most important documents, which Olesya had, could not be opened by anyone else because her computer was a password protected. The clients, not wanting to waste time, refused to wait and most likely went to competitors. By lunchtime, realizing the consequences of what had happened, Olesya took her employment record and a few nice trinkets that her coworkers had given her for the new year. Frowning as she headed home, she thought about how everything could have gone differently. Meanwhile, in the basement of a multi-apartment building lived a cat named Mirka. She had settled there 2 years ago, having learned to survive in tough conditions. Once, she was part of a large, cheerful family that loved and took care of her. However, her owner's move to another city changed her fate. Instead of taking her with them, the family left Mirka in the courtyard of the house, where she had to get used to living on her own. Soon, the basement became her new home. In constant danger, Mirka learned to hunt and hide from malicious people and dogs. Over the years, she became a mother several times, but the fate of her kittens was not easy. Many little ones died, and those who were luckier were taken by kind volunteers. Now, she had only one kitten left, the bright Ginger, who was her favorite. Mirka called him her little son and gently licked his fluffy fur with special tenderness. The snowfall had not stopped for the last 7 days. Mirka, caring for her little one, did not allow him to leave the basement. She feared that Ginger might get lost, fall into the deep snow, or not find his way back. The kitten was obedient and only peeked out of his shelter when a kind woman approached the basement window. This woman cared for all the stray animals in the area, bringing them food and a bit of warmth during this cold winter period. Near the basement window were Mirka and Ginger. The recent lunch brought by the kind-hearted woman was hearty and tasty. They ate porridge with added meat. After such a hearty meal, they snuggled up to each other, sat right on the snow, and began quietly humming different songs. "Hey, look what I came up with. What shall we do next?" Ginger purred with interest. But suddenly, almost 2 steps away from them, a loud shout was heard. Mirka immediately noticed a little boy running towards them with a beaming face. "Let's play football!" he exclaimed enthusiastically. The cat had just managed to meow briefly when Ginger jumped up, lifting her to ear level. They were surrounded by a group of boys who, laughing, teased each other and their friend, creating a cheerful commotion. At that very moment, Olesya slowly entered the courtyard. In fact, she usually didn't come here. The road through this courtyard was not her way. However, on this day, the girl was not in a hurry and decided to temporarily change her route, walking in a relaxed mood. The severance pay, completely useless, would barely last a few months, and within this short period she absolutely had to find some kind of job. Her thoughts, full of sadness, were suddenly interrupted by loud noises. Shouts and meowing made Olesya turn her head towards the depth of the courtyard. The scene that unfolded before her eyes was not pleasant. In the center of the courtyard, a group of boys, whom Olesya estimated to be about 10 or 11 years old, were noisily playing. One of the boys was holding a tiny kitten tightly in his hands, which was helplessly wriggling and trying to escape. Nearby, the cat was darting around. Furious as an arrow, she was meowing plaintively and desperately trying to jump to the boy's hand, in which her beloved Ginger was. "Now let's see how well you can fly," the boy shouted with a mocking smile, and his friends laughed loudly. "Stop!" Olesya cried, trying to stop what was happening, but it was already too late. The boy lifted his hand, swung it, and the poor kitten flew into a deep snowdrift. Forgetting everything in the world, Olesya rushed to the place where the unfortunate little one had fallen. Without hesitation, she plunged into the snow, grabbed Ginger from the cold grip, and pressed him to herself. Upon reaching the sidewalk, she noticed how the cat, as if sensing safety, was circling nearby and rubbing against her boots. "Get out of here, and so that I don't see you here again," came a loud voice from a man who had suddenly appeared from the entrance. It was Konstantin Podolsky. He helped Olesia shake off the snowy coat and calm the cat. "You must be very brave? How did you decide to jump into the snowdrift for the kitten?" Konstantin asked, surprised. "Honestly, I didn't understand what was happening at first," Olesia replied. "Only after seeing these boys and poor Ginger did everything become clear." Meanwhile, the cat, still seeming anxious, as if afraid the boys would return, carefully pressed against Olesia's boots, almost begging her not to leave. "Imagine, I usually don't pass by here, but today it was as if something pushed me to choose this path," Olesia suddenly confessed. In her conversation with Konstantin, she unexpectedly opened up and told everything. About the rental apartment, how difficult it was to commute to work every day, and that today she was very late, which ultimately cost her her job. Mirka and Ginger, finally feeling safe, quietly sat by the entrance. However, the cat was still vigilantly watching the surroundings, as if fearing new trouble. And Olesia, looking at Konstantin, suddenly realized that today's chance encounter could be the beginning of something important. The man smiled so warmly and sincerely that it immediately caught her attention. "If your boss knew how brave you are, he wouldn't have rushed to decide to fire you. I'm being absolutely serious. Not every woman would dare to rush to save a kitten from a basement." After this, Konstantin offered Olesia to have tea with him. The conversation extended. There were so many talks that they didn't even notice how time flew by. During the conversation, it turned out that Konstantin was exactly looking for a specialist in her field, as his company was actively growing and expanding. Moreover, it was unexpectedly revealed that the company had an official apartment located very close to the office. Exactly 1 week later, Olesia packed her things, moved to the new residence, and began working in her new position. Now, on her way home, she smiles every time, knowing that she will always be greeted in the hallway by fluffy, purring inhabitants, the caring Mirka, and the playful Ginger. Together, they go to the kitchen, where patient cats, quietly blinking, wait until their owner fills their bowls with food. After dinner, everyone settles on the cozy sofa. Olesia turns on her favorite movies, and her fluffy friends, settling on her lap or at her feet, quietly purr, creating a sense of complete comfort and warmth. Additionally, Konstantin began courting Olesia. The cats welcomed this fact with obvious approval. Mirka and Ginger always enjoy watching him come, as if sensing that he is a friend of the family. Friends, if this story touched you, share your thoughts in the comments. We would be happy to read your feedback. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss even more heartwarming stories. See you.